very good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Real Love. I'm your host, Mary Wikisa. I'm excited to be in your presence this evening, and thank you so much for watching this show. We receive great feedback wherever we go. We appreciate your viewership. Now, today on the program, we'll be looking at crimes of passion. I'm just trying to find a story that I saw, which was attributed to the Zambia Police Service. One of the many stories. Now, it says, a Lavushmanda man has allegedly murdered his wife following a misunderstanding that ensued over the relish she reserved for him and was eaten by their dog. On Monday, Noah Mwape kicked his wife in the stomach after he learned that the relish reserved for him was eaten by their dog. Brief facts of the matter are that on 18th March 2024, at around 19 hours, the now deceased Prudence Mupanga and her husband had a misunderstanding over the relish which she had prepared for supper and was unfortunately eaten by the dog. This is just one of the many other stories that involve crimes that have to do with spouse killings. And so we will also look at other stories, and of course we'll bring them on as we continue discussing the program. I have with me in studio Auntie Judy. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Nice to be here.
All right. Dr. Stella, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right. And the third guest, wait for it, he hasn't been on the show in a while. The one and only. The guy who's delaying to get married. The controversial, very loud and blunt, called Steady Divine. Yeah. Welcome to Real Life.
Did you see that coming?
I didn't see it coming. But with Mary, anything is possible. So you gotta be ready.
Just
have
ready.
to hold on.
With me, anything is possible. And so today we're discussing, I'm trying to see through some other stories, but we'll find them from the Zambia Police page as we go on. Yeah. But then there have been cases, unfortunately, of spouse killings. Okay, and of late, there's a story from Northwestern Province where a physiotherapist was allegedly murdered by their husband. There's another story about a man that allegedly murdered his wife and a child, and he took his own life. Yeah. And there's a story that I'm just from reading about food, and so many other stories. Auntie Judy, what is going on in our country in these marriages? I'm asking this question because I'm failing to comprehend how somebody that I claim to love, even if in that moment I'm consumed by anger, but the basis is that I love this person.
Yes.
Why would I want to kill them?
Yeah, and like, it's not even, so you love this person, and even that issue. Okay, so a dog has taken the meat. Can't you buy more meat? So should someone lose their life? So I think that's really for me.
Did you listen to yourself?
I meant to say what I said. Can't you buy more meat? So the point is that what is more valuable is the anger of the moment, and when you are angry. First of all, I just want to isolate the issue of anger in its own. Like, people must know how to manage themselves when they're angry. Because, as myself as a marriage counselor, traditionally, there's a teaching that when you are very angry, do either of the following things. One, leave the position of your conversation. If you are in the living room, leave that room, go somewhere else, and just try to just find yourself, so that the moment of anger is a bit prolonged. Maybe by the time you want to apply it, it will have lessened.
So
Number two.
Yes, I'm talking to you and you're walking away.
But I'm saying the one now who is angry. That's the one who must walk away.
Ah, okay.
Yes, that's the one who, because the one who is being shouted at might not know what to do. The second thing is, if there's water nearby, just take a mouthful of water. And so you don't say anything, because when you have water in your mouth, it's unlikely that you can
swallow the water.
By the time swallowing the water is a moment. So you know the way anger happens.
2 seconds.
So it's a short moment. So that short moment of swallowing water could just reduce your rage, because that is rage. Then number 3 is just control yourself so much that you know, instead of some people bolt, you just leave the bang the door, do anything else but touch the human being. You know, you can break the windows, some people bang the door, you can kick the bucket and things like that. So the point is protect the human life in a moment of rage, in a moment of anger. So Mary, when you ask what is happening, the first thing that is happening is failure of people to understand the way they feel and the implication of the way they feel to another person.
Yeah.
Look at the baby. Why should the baby die? Because a man is angry with his wife. We are talking about two big people, but the young soul, the young child has died. So
very annoying.
It's not fair, and people must, first of all, before you can manage another person, manage yourself. Manage yourself. You are angry, what should I say? You know, sometimes people, when they are very angry, they say, "Sinizwa navokuuza you. Ningakupai." Okay, so you are thinking, right? Ningakupai, ningakumenya, uchoka mno mnyumba. You know, all those threats, they are results of your angry situation. So you are thinking, how can I express my anger to this person? So, as a marriage counselor, one of the things we need to do deeply, we are already doing, but maybe we need to re-strategize how we do it, is to teach people skills on anger management as part of
I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you.
How can they manage themselves, their anger themselves, and then again manage the anger of another person? You know, people that cry when they are very angry, they can't even talk, they just cry. They cry uncontrollably. That's a way of expressing anger. But then, so people express anger in different ways, but they should be able not to harm other people as a result of them being angry.
And there's some of us who smile.
And also, yes.
When you're very angry.
Really?
Smiling.
Yes.
Okay.
That one is good. And then also,
that one is terrible. It's dangerous. It's very, very
But also there's
dangerous.
the one now which you kill yourself. So meaning that now nothing matters. Even myself, I don't matter. And the question is, what is it that can be so angering enough to take your own life, to die?
Dr. Stella, let's hear from your perspective. I agree with one point. Of course, the things you said are valid, but I pick up one particular point where she says, when you're counseling couples for marriage, anger management must be part of it. If you cannot do it, I'm sure you can always invite a qualified person as part of your counseling package to talk to the couple, because we've seen many marriages end because of failing to resolve issues. And I think that is very important than teaching women how to, whatever it is that they teach. I don't want to go into detail, but that should be critical about anger management.
Of course, I think it's one critical component as you look at marriage counseling, in that whether you like it or not, you have to discuss issues to do with conflict resolutions in marriage, because you definitely have conflicts. So how do you resolve those conflicts? And one of them is that you must be able to manage your anger. Of course, there are several other things that you need to do. Perhaps we just need to go deep as to how best you are going to manage this anger. But other than the anger management itself, that is definitely considered and tackled as couples are being counseled and being prepared for marriage, I think there are several other factors that are contributing to what is going on. Because other than people failing to manage their anger, sometimes this anger is not just triggered at that particular moment. Some of these, what we see, how people retaliate and all, has got to do with the trauma that they experienced when they were still young. So some people carry on with the trauma that, you know, maybe they had this trauma when they were still very young, maybe in their formative years and that kind of a thing. And they go on. Some of them, they come from abusive homes and they think that's how people should live. You know, when you are offended, then the best thing you need to do is either beat your partner or verbal abuse your partner, physical abuse your partner, emotional abuse your partner. So there are a number of factors that contribute to what is going on right now, where we are seeing crimes of passion. And I think we've got to do something about it. And the sad part of it all is that in as much as we are seeing all these things happening, society has worsened the situation, because as society we have certain expectations when it comes to marriage. Even when someone is going through some of these things, it's like society, especially from a traditional point of view, who expect whosoever is being abused, be it physically, verbally, emotionally, to hang in there. And when they don't hang in there, they are labeled. So not only has society made the situation worse, but to a large extent they change. Religion, because religion, if not properly
That's very true.
religion to a large extent, you know, is used to oppress the masses in one way or the other if people do not really have an understanding of how things should be done. Because, you know, people quote the Bible, people quote scriptures, people say, you know, the Bible says a woman should not speak. They are simply using scripture to oppress a woman, and that ought not to be the case. Not only that, we also see, you know, how women or men who opt to move out when they make that decision, how they are labeled, they become outcasts, they are failures. They communicate, yes, to say you've failed if you failed your man.
Have a dead church member who's died in marriage than I one that is alive.
Exactly. So I think we can do better. So to a large extent, we see that we have people now who have mental issues.
Yes.
People are hurt, people are bitter, and sometimes, you know what triggers this bitterness? There are also other external factors. You don't have a job. You are broke, but you can't buy nyama inango. Perhaps this person is can't afford. So now what do? That bitterness now is triggered. So it's really unfortunate, but we need to see how we can look at this issue and see how we can help somebody out there.
Coach Steady Divine, I would like to get your perspective on this issue regards why it seems like the killings of spouses by their spouses is on the rise. Are we failing to resolve issues? Are we failing to calm down?
I think most of it couples is you have conversations when it's heated. You need to have pre-rules of engagement. You know, when you're not upset, when you're not in a space where you've got anger issues, that's when you discuss how we handle conflict. You don't discuss how do we deal with issues when the issues are happening. So it means the bigger problem is people don't agree before they decide to get married. And that's why when we're talking about premarital counseling, these are things people must be able to deal with and work around and agree, this is how we're going to deal with the issues that are happening. So most couples can't resolve because now it's heated and it's happening at that point. How do you fix a problem when it's happening? You have to make sure you are futuristic. When you are dating, before you get married, and you test it in the relationship to see how it's going,
how the other person handles anger, excitement, high moments, low moments.
Exactly. And those are now, you see, and then that's a challenge with our culture. We are not discussing these critical issues. We are busy focusing on, you know, what the partner is buying for you and what the partner is doing, but you're not having conversations. When you're upset, how do you react? Have you dealt with your trauma? Your childhood trauma? How did you grow up? How were you raised? If people don't understand those things, it becomes a challenge to be able to resolve conflict in the marriage when it happens, because people didn't discuss, because now it's heated. And I tell people, if you make a commitment before marriage that you will do certain things and marriage comes and you don't do them, that's fraud. And you don't expect much from your partner. So if you say, when you and I are in a heated moment, which will definitely happen, how do we resolve? Now, you put
So have a conversation about how you'll be resolving your issues. Wow.
Before the issues happen.
Wow.
Not when things are happening now and says, because everybody knows. So like the example that Aunt Judy gave, if we spoke when we can't agree, can we push the conversation
to another time?
So when your partner walks away, you don't take offense because there's already an agreement. How you're gonna deal. You don't discuss in the valleys. You discuss on your mountain top. Most of the times people have these conversations in the valleys. It's difficult. Now, if we don't have the money in this marriage, as we are supposed, how do you handle it? You know, not when now it has happened. You can't buy more meat.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't go to the table. You don't bargain. I always tell people and says it's tough to negotiate to go to the table to negotiate when you've already signed.
Yeah.
Because at that
You've
point,
already signed.
You've already
There's
signed.
no going back.
Yeah.
There's no turning back. So I feel that's where the problem is. People don't do the due diligence before the marriage. You know, that's the key thing.
Love doctor, you're late. What happened? No, on this show we call people out. We'll call you out. There's no way. Sorry to don't come late. He looks very humble. And don't talk about traffic because we're all driving on the same road. We just woke up.
No, I just woke up late because I was somewhere at some funeral.
Okay. Okay, the emotional card.
Yeah, schooled us down.
So, Love Doctor, welcome. We're discussing passions of killing, if you like, or the rampant cases of spouses killing each other out of issues, anger, whatever has triggered the anger, we may not know, but getting to the point to do what you're doing to take away your spouse's life. That is what we're discussing, and we would like to get your thoughts around it and why you think these cases are on the rise now.
I think most of these cases come out of issues to do with, you know, passion, you know, emotions, and usually, if we look at the number of cases, they emanate from cheating. So a lot of people fail to handle the emotion part that comes from your partner cheating on you.
Okay.
You know, so when they fail to handle that, in law, there's what they call temporary insanity. So someone at that particular time, they are probably insane with the actions that you've taken by probably cheating on them, and they'll end up doing anything at that particular time. And most of them definitely they'll regret. And there are some who don't even regret because they still feel that person was not supposed to do that. You know, and we usually forget that we are dealing with human beings, and these human beings are people that we never grew up with. We don't know how they've grown up, who they're associated with, what they think, how they value certain things. You know, there are people that don't feel cheating is bad, probably because they've seen other people do it, and probably how other people viewed that cheating. Maybe there was no fighting, someone just walked away, and other people, they plead for people who are cheating on them, you know, so they tend to think, well, even me, I can cheat. Or they were raised in a home where some parents cheat and they've subdued the other half, you know, so this other person, even if they are hurt by, you know, the cheating of the other person, they are just okay with it in terms of handling the environment where children are not seeing anything and all, but inside their head. So the other, if you grew up in such a home, you tend to feel like it's normal to cheat. But now you don't know the person that you're dealing with, the person that you've gone to
get married.
Yes, and maybe when you're dating, you played your cards so well, whereby they never caught you cheating and all, and then and they've trusted you like 100%. Yes. So that disappointment at that particular time, they'll just act in a certain way. Someone was telling me a story where the wife was cheating on him.
Yeah.
And then he discovered, like, he found these people. You know, he just went home, picked a gun and almost shot them. You know, so they had to fight and fight and fight. It's because sometimes maybe we trust so much and then this person disappoints us. And that disappointment at that particular time, we just feel like, no. This person can't do this to me. We can't
handle the anger
at
that time.
Yes, so I don't know if, like Pastor Sted said, I don't know if people can discuss the issue of, okay, if you cheated on me, what happens? But I know that, but
like you haven't prepared for
but it's very cardinal to have that. There are people who say, the day you cheat on me, that's the end.
Yes.
You understand? So you know that, okay, so if I cheat on this person, they know it's the end. If you're a cheater, then you have to play your cards well, you know? And then some people just say...
like playing your cards well, because eventually
you'll be caught, yes.
It always gets
And then
out.
women are experts. They're slick.
There's no expert, because eventually, no matter how much you hide it, eventually it will come out. It will definitely come out. Let me hear from you, Auntie Judy. Love Doctor speaks about cheating as one of the reasons why we're having a lot of these crimes of passion, where the other party discovers my partner is cheating. And I read somewhere the other day that there are two major causes of divorces and these issues. It's about money and cheating. Money and cheating. So money leads to a lot of issues like the buying more meat. When you have the money in abundance and you plan together, there'll be no shortage of extra meat. Okay?
But still you have extra girls.
Yes. So he speaks about cheating. How should spouses deal with such issues? Because that's one of the major issue that leads to crimes of passion. The discovery of your spouse, your partner, cheating on you, and you have the proof, undisputed evidence. Yes. How should couples handle such a situation? Because it's like it's very impossible to calm down.
I think the worst part of cheating is really betrayal.
Yes.
Like you have betrayed your wife or your husband, somebody that you have professed to love so much. They have given their life to you, they got married to you, they have children with you, a lot of things that you have invested in the relationship, and then, you know, just to find out you were doing all these things and yet you cheated on them. It's the most painful part of the relationship. I think that knowing that what belongs to me has gone to somebody else, and that is really, the other week I was actually trying to research on this, like what is really the issue about cheating. And I discovered actually that when a man or a woman cheats on the other one, they are literally taking a part of them and giving it away.
To another person?
Yes.
To an external person?
To an external person who is not part of the arrangement. Because the Bible confesses that and says that when two get married, they become one. So it's like you've taken my hand or my half of me and given another person. You have robbed me of myself. And so that's why it's very painful, because it really goes into the deep of a human being, their feelings, their emotions. And no one, unfortunately, nobody has ever said that whether they forgive. You know, there's a concept I hear that when someone commits adultery and they are able to forgive each other, they can still continue. But believe me, they will never ever stop remembering that situation. A man and a woman in bed or whichever, vice versa.
Especially
they will never. Even a woman actually. I think that
at least wakazi bamaisako, but
that's what you
they just it's their socialization again. We should talk about
what we assume, but you'll be so shocked that
it's worse.
It's worse.
Exactly.
Women take it so hardly, but you will not realize it. But then
maybe that's a conversation you people need to have.
That's a topic for another day. Because
from a men's
we just
perspective, men have gotten so comfortable that the women, once they moves on, then it's over. But I also wanted to add on the cheating part. There was a trending moment about, it was on social media. What shocked me about, I think also it's how we look at the infidelity and the cheating in our culture and social media. When a person cheats on me, it's not my fault.
Yes.
It's their brokenness.
It's about them.
Now, our culture now makes the person that has been cheated on to feel like you are less of a human being. And that's where
you have been robbed.
You know,
like you are the loser.
You're the loser. So instead of focusing what these perpetual cheaters, what's broken inside, I think we need to have more conversations to say when someone is caught cheating or someone is cheating, they need help.
They need help.
They do need help.
They need a lot of help. I mean, I look at, there was a story of Steve Harvey at some point.
Yes.
Him and his wife, and that story. What shocked me the most is how social media was buzzing and excited and started listing names of people they look forward to see their partners cheating on them. Now, that's how toxic our generation is.
So we actually look forward to such
exactly.
news.
Yeah,
People say, oh, so Steve Harvey feels like he had game. He knew the game. Now they've taught him the game. And now people started saying, we are looking forward for this person, this person, this person to go through that. And guess what they're trying to validate? They're validating the cheater. And they're putting down the victim. And we don't know how dysfunctional our culture is.
Because actually the victim is the cheater himself. He's a victim of his own brokenness.
Yes.
Exactly.
Her own brokenness.
Yes.
I read somewhere.
Nobody talks about that. Nobody's having those conversations.
I read a short paragraph somebody put out there and said, if you cheat on me, I'll just remind you that you must have grown up without love. Like
No
you didn't have
wonder.
love growing up
Yes.
at home.
Yes.
There was no
No
love at
wonder
home.
you cheated.
So you have a vacuum that you're trying to fill by being with everybody.
Yeah.
And that
Yes.
thing will not be filled up. You need
Now,
help.
that's very, very powerful because that's what takes away these crimes of passion. When you have that understanding that you cheated, you're not a faithful person, it's not on me. I am not going to lose my life or that of my children trying to
Because
compete
of your
with-
brokenness.
Because of your brokenness. Your brokenness will not win. It ends here. I am showing you how you do this thing. Now, if people don't heal, she said something very powerful. If you can't manage yourself, and that's what I've always taught.
Yeah.
Before you marry someone, make sure they can manage their lives.
Yes.
Before they think about managing a home and a marriage.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with our culture, again, we've become too materialistic.
Yeah.
That we don't go at the core of who a person is. The depth of a person
Yeah.
before we make the commitment. The question is, how do you manage when you see multiple women? How do you behave? How do you deal? Because the making of these beautiful women will never come to an end.
No,
A
there's
man
always
must
somebody.
end it in his heart.
Yes,
Yes.
at the choice
It's
of
you.
his wife.
There's always beautiful women
Exactly.
every day.
So you have to
day.
decide. Now,
That
that's
was
a
that
level of maturity, but our social media doesn't discuss that. And that's why every time a person sees a partner in a bad sport, they say, I'm going to take your life because nobody is going to enjoy.
Yeah. Tulefilila Munsinga. Tulefilila Munsinga. You are
So-
not having her.
Yeah.
If I'm not having her or him,
Nobody
no one
will,
should
will,
have.
will have. You know, actually for you, you say, you know what? It's a blessing. Because I don't get to live with a person who
Like
doesn't have
that.
self-value. You know?
Self-value.
So I
very
lose you.
important.
Yeah, Dr. Stella, how can couples address issues of cheating to avoid crimes of passion? It's one of the major triggers of crimes of passion.
You are right. And to start with, there's a common adage that says, hurt people, hate others.
Yeah.
So if somebody is broken, somebody is hurt, they are likely to hurt another person. And there's also another one, another saying that says, cheaters will always be cheaters. So now, how do you deal with cheating? How do you deal with the aftermath of cheating? It's a complex situation. It's like a fufu vefe. However, a papa vefe, fufu, whatever they call it. However, I think from the very beginning, as you are relating, as you are husband and wife, you must be able to understand that you are dealing with a human being that is made of flesh and blood. And you also have got to watch what you say, because there is a power of the tongue. What is it that you say? As you are relating, do you tell yourself, you know, the day I'll find you, you're feeding your brain. And it's stored in your brain. It's stored. So what, yes, unconscious, it's in the subconscious. It will be stored. What is it that you speak? Have you told yourself that the day I find my partner cheating, I'm going to kill them? It will be stored. And that will be the first reflex, perhaps, the first action that will come to your mind when you find them cheating. You'd want to kill them. But for what? What do you gain at the end of the day? For what?
Someone who is broken.
Over someone. And you know what I tell people? Over someone you met, maybe after 25 years, after 26 years, after you were not born with this person. You want to go to jail.
Jesus died for us because he loves us.
Yes.
You will not go to jail over somebody who doesn't value you.
Exactly.
Doesn't value himself
Exactly.
or
So
herself.
that is the reasoning. So to start with, as you are relating, you must be able to tell yourself that it is not worth killing your partner, even if you found them cheating. So tell yourself that. You will say, no, watch what you speak. There's life and death in the tongue. So you need to avoid that. The other thing also, like I earlier indicated, that you must know that you are dealing with a person who is made of flesh and blood. anyone is bound to err.
Yes.
You know, anyone can err, anyone can find themselves in situations such as those. So in an event that you find them implicated or you find them entangled in such relationships, how do you react? How do you value yourself? So the issue now comes, the issue now is how do you value yourself? Do you value yourself enough that you'll be able to walk away quietly and say, no, I think I cannot deal with this, and I would rather leave you live the way you want to live your life. You know, because if you find someone cheating, there are two options.
Yeah, to stay.
Option number one, you can stay and decide how you are going to move forward, the two of you.
Yes.
There are two options. And we see this, that's just a reality. There are two options. It's either you stay or you leave. And the choice is all yours. You are, no one will force you.
No.
You are at liberty to decide what you want to do when you found your partner cheating. Either you leave or you stay. So if you decide to stay, there must be ground rules. There must be you must set boundaries.
Love doctor added something. Stay and cheat back.
No, I was not saying.
I wouldn't be surprised if Love Doctor said that. He's always the black sheep of the show.
No, you know what someone said instead? Someone said women, like everyone here has agreed to say women don't actually forgive.
No,
What they would do is they just cheat back, but secretly and properly. And you never know. To compensate for your cheating.
And that is dangerous because it means you don't love yourself.
Exactly.
Because if
you push me into who I am not.
Exactly. So if you're going to decide to stay in that marriage, you must have come up with boundaries, ground rules on how you are going to move forward, how you are going to, if the culprit, what are they promising? What is it they're bringing to the table now that they're not going to do no more? If you decide to leave, you must be in a position to leave and let go. The problem we are having is that sometimes even when you decide to leave, some people, they leave broken, and what you know what they resolve at the end of the day, I'm also going to break other people's marriages.
Going to bleed on an innocent
Exactly. So that ought not to be the case. So if you decide to leave, you must also plan as to how you are going to live thereafter. Are you going to live single? Are you going to remarry? And the worst you can ever resolve to do is, I'm going to get divorced, and I'll also make sure I break other people's homes. That is a bad situation and a bad reason to...
So let's focus on this anger management, because those are some of the triggers. Like cheating is one of the bigger, if not 80% of these crimes of passion. Of course, other issues are like, you'll be shocked if they tell you like this story for food.
Yeah, well, that's one in a million.
But then if we investigated that, those are facts like records with the Zambia Police Service. But if you took time to, unfortunately one of them is dead, if you took time to understand what happened, beyond the food, there must have been a conversation else. And maybe how the other person spoke to each other, it triggered a fight or whatnot. There could be an issue of cheating or an issue of whatever it is, but how you react to each other in the moment, what you say to each other, can lead to such. So Auntie Judy, how do you, how best can heated moments be handled to avoid crimes of passion? Let's have a hypothetical example. You come across information which states that, oh, this person maybe is cheating, there's even evidence. Not just the suspicion of, oh, we found a text here, we found a text message. No, proof, like real proof.
Yes,
there's even a child here.
Yes, the child looks exactly like your son in the house.
So because
so it's definitely his.
So first of all, you need to have proof.
You don't even need DNA.
Because there's a lot of people that have what is called catastrophic thinking, where you're always thinking of the West.
Yeah, and
if
then
you call your spouse, the phone is off, you're already assuming. Maybe it's somebody. You've even created a scenario in your head.
Yes.
You
enjoy with your new one.
You try to call again. Exactly. You try to call, the phone is even off.
Yes.
You get home, he's not there.
So agitated now.
You get now very angry.
Yeah.
An hour later, he shows up.
And then by some chance,
you don't even want to know where they you just start attacking.
He's calling then he just shows you.
And everything around him is just pointing to that thing
because
that you
your mind is catastrophic in nature. So he even shows up. But my phone is here, I forgot it. It's just here next to the bed. I was in the meeting. He even shows you proof that here I was in a meeting and all that. But you would have gone very far. You would have assumed a lot of things. Because there are different people. Yes, we have different people that are like different types of thinkers. Others are those that already think that whatever you're going to say is wrong. Even if you try to explain, no, I know what you're trying to say. You know, you have all these kind of mindsets. Now, there are those which are catastrophic in nature, and then when they come across such information with proof, how do you handle such a situation? Because these are the ones that trigger crimes of passion.
That lead, to death and things like that. So
what do you do when there's evidence?
So
or you just find them?
Yeah, actually, everything doing. So as Families and Nations, we've got a tool that we use to assess couples when they come, before they even get married, in premarital counseling. We've got a tool, each one of them will fill it in, and it's totally confidential. The man will not know what the woman has said, and the woman will vice versa. That tool determines also the person, it's an opportunity for everyone to express who they are. How do they...
Your personality.
How do they deal with anger? How do they resolve issues? When, and it actually even gives them a role play. If this thing happened, what would you do? Yes, because one of the things we also wanted, everyone should declare, do you have a child outside marriage? No. So now, if you found out that your spouse does have a child outside marriage and you have come here, so you want to get married, what is your reaction? So they've got an opportunity to express themselves, how they would feel in such a situation, but also what would they do? So about anger is everyone must leave room for something to happen that is drastically painful, and they will have to deal with it themselves. Because it's not all the time the police will be there. It's not all the time the counselor will be there. The pastor will be there. Something will happen, and you yourself, how do you manage your crisis? So it's part of the counseling process to try and capacitate people to manage a crisis. At the least, how can you walk away, or can you do what? Even if you have to report, there's even a question: who do you talk to when such a thing happens? Is it your best friend? Is it your mom? Is it your dad? Who are you going to report when such a thing happens? So I think that why and how that happens is really emotional, but the reaction is what people can control. They can learn to control. They know themselves, I'm short-tempered, like the scenario that you have given. And then you just find actually the phone is right next to you. And you have said all unprintables to this person the minute they entered the house. Hey, you and hey, what? You have said them, but the phone is right there. The person did not do what you thought you were thinking they were doing. So how do you relate? How do you calm down? Are you a person who can retrace your steps and apologize? Or are you the person who is going to hold this one and do a return job? Like that time when Achita saw 9 and Achita saw. Because again, the thing is Chimbala, holding on to a thing that happened a long time ago, it was never resolved, and you never got a satisfactory answer about it, you are still giving yourself answers. It's you answering for your friend. That day you didn't come home early, there was lipstick at Papambuyo, someone was in ShopRite and someone just brushed by them, and then, so all those things,
Papa lipstick, my shoulder. No, they have to explain that one.
So people are in the grave now who have died without cause.
Some of them are innocent.
They are totally innocent. Okay. They have just died. Someone killed them because they suspected something they could not even prove. Yeah. So anger, I think he said something like, people need to resolve the past issue before the next one causes them to kill each other. Yeah. Because when you haven't resolved, the pain is outstanding. That it is not the meat that caused someone
There must have been something.
There's something else.
Or maybe
they
built
did not
up
talk.
anger.
Yeah, built up. It's just been building. They never talked, or he never even declared to say, me, I suspect this. People don't say. And this is a very bad thing, that people don't express the thing that they are not happy about. They don't say, no, love doctor, I think like this, like this. They don't have that conversation. And couples are encouraged to converse on issues openly, talk about it. Like, I was talking to a couple recently. I said, so if you find that your spouse to be is HIV positive and they didn't tell you, how are you going to relate to them? And so they say, why would he do that? Why would she do that? Why shouldn't somebody tell me they are HIV positive? But how many people declare? Truly speaking, the real situation, how many people have declared they're HIV and they get married to people, and down the line, until something happens, maybe, and then they discover in a crisis. So it's about how can people manage the things that they did not get a correct answer or the answer they wanted or the real situation, and now they have to deal with the past which they had no control over.
Yeah.
So a lot of outstanding things, a lot of banked up, a lot of
Love Doctor,
boxes.
you wanted to say something.
Yeah. So I think sometimes we misunderstand the issue of marriage. First, I think marriage was ordained by God.
Yes.
Hence, we need to have some Christian or Christianity in us, you know, for us to probably understand marriage. So when you get married, you become one. And the Bible also says the body of your spouse becomes yours. You know what I mean? So, of course, when they cheat on you, you feel like they've stolen. Yes. Yes.
Defiled the body.
Yes.
Yes.
However, emotional, I think we need to start teaching people about emotional intelligence. And it's in all spheres. There are certain situations that we need to use our emotional intelligence to handle such situations. So if someone cheats on you, like you had already said, to say, why would I go to prison for someone's mistakes or for someone's error or for
Lack of self-worth.
Yes. Why, like you sit down, you start thinking intelligently, emotional intelligently, you start thinking to say, I wouldn't do this. Okay, fine. Am I able to help them? Because sometimes we may try to help, and in trying to help, you get affected more even heavily than the person that is already doing the things they're doing. So emotional intelligence is very cardinal as we teach even in premarital, even during marriage. We need to teach these people. And also counseling is very, very cardinal. We laugh at people, maybe we watch TV and we see a 40 or 50-year-old man going for counseling. We start laughing. More if Africans are. Mukulu wants to understand. But someone wants to resolve issues like we have said.
Actually, this was something I was trying to ask, like a burning question. Are we a people that understand the power of therapy or, you know, counseling as he's talking, as he's referring to? And is it accessible?
Yeah, very useful.
Do we understand the importance of therapy beyond the premarital counseling? In the marriage, now you are on the road.
Yeah.
And it's bumpy, and you need the counseling more than when you got married. Do we understand the power, and is it accessible, and is it affordable?
Do we seek it even?
Yeah, I think that's a powerful question, and I think I'm glad you brought it out. In other cultures, therapy is not even about whether you're getting married or you're not.
Yes.
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle, yeah.
People would say,
Supposed
I
to
see
be.
my therapist maybe twice, 4 times in a month.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle. So it's normal for you, even to when you're about to get married, it's normal for you to just say, hey, let's continue. Do you have a therapist? You know, I have my therapist. Do you have yours? Now, kuzambia. So munuonabwa. You see, because we've not normalized the conversation about going to therapy, seeking help when you are going through whatever you're going through.
And when you seek help, instead they'll be like, no, why you find out kazuza my problems here to
Exactly.
You know?
And men are usually the ones that say that the most. If you look at the statistics,
That they refuse.
Yeah, most men don't even want to go and get help until things get to the last point.
Yeah.
As for me, I don't. Those family meetings, we keep going. He's just going to cry and then go and do the same stupid stuff.
Yeah.
I have issues.
It's
That's why I always
It's
say
true.
on this show, I don't do it
Yes.
for free. You say, is it affordable? I
Yes.
tell people, you are going to pay for a wedding
Of
at
course.
150,000.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you
So
want to
this
pick
one
my
you
brain
can't
for
pay.
free? No, you're not ready to get married.
And that's the biggest problem we have.
Exactly.
No one
There's a couple
wants to
I'm dealing
invest.
with right now. I was impressed. They said, we are just going to do Civic Center because the process of premarital coaching is
It's
key for us.
expensive, yeah. And it costs.
And it costs that.
Total.
And one of the things I did is I gave them a book and says, guys, you go and buy these books, you must read. And then she asked me, she says, Coach, I must finish the books. I said, do you want to stay married?
You must finish.
No, you see, we don't have these conversations. You want a happy marriage. You want to deal with your trauma. There's a way you grew up.
Yes.
There's things you've been through. Why? Now, paying the price, is it affordable? It's not just the price you pay to a therapist or a coach. It's the price you have to sit when you are taught what to do, I was talking to a couple, I was talking about the KPIs. We use them in the corporate worlds, but we need KPIs in
our
marriage,
lives.
in our lives.
Exactly.
I told them, what are going to be the KPIs for you to proceed?
Yes.
There must be, when you're done, because premarital coaching is not just so we get married. It's also so we decide not to get married.
You know how to deal with this person who is like this.
Exactly.
And choose whether to stay with them or not.
And people have to make the decision at that point. And that's why I tell people and say, the next time I fall in love, I want to be healthy in love, not crazy in love. Because because when you're crazy in love, because when you're crazy in love, even when you've seen,
you forgo certain things that will come and affect your future.
And affect your future.
And is it true? I like what you say when you say going for premarital counseling could also be about deciding not to proceed with the marriage.
Yes.
But then we're socialized in such a way that this premarital counseling is just prepare you for the marriage, even though you see things not right.
Now we have to send Auntie Judy and speak to our ancestors.
Yes.
They are also the problem.
Yes.
Because they will tell their child, we've already hired Dwana Chimbusa, we've already paid for
it.
That's Auntie Judy's generation. She also needs to speak to them.
Yes.
Because that's where also the pressure comes in on that.
So Dr. Stella, do you agree, or have you seen cases where people are married, but before they were married, they were having these issues, but they still went ahead and got married, and now those same issues
come back big,
leads them to divorce?
Actually, a good number of them, the problems that they encounter in marriage are problems that they foresaw.
It's true.
Okay.
Yes.
We can testify.
Yes. Yes.
No, you're not testifying. Now you're getting married this year. You are getting married this year. You're not testifying to
That's not the problem. Is you see them.
I'm arranging one for you. I'm arranging one for you.
and then now there.
I'm connecting you.
In fact, what we should do is we should come and assess her on the show.
Up and there, then he's going to hire all the papas around town. Let us rebuke
Yeah. So the truth of the matter is the problems that people experience, the challenges, these are problems that there are very few. Of course, there are few who say it was who will be this is unexpected. I never. The majority has said, I saw the red flags. I saw the red flags. Yes, I saw the red flags. I saw how he would react when I don't pick his call. The way he would shout at me. I saw how he would not be willing to go out even for a meal. I wish
Why do we fail to say I can't proceed?
Number one.
We are prophesying.
Number one, we don't know how to handle emotions, or we don't know how to handle ourselves when we've fallen in love. Perhaps we should learn to walk in love and not to fall. So we
walk in love with your eyes open.
Yes. And I personally don't like the idea of people saying, no, the thing is love is blind. I totally refuse. Love is not blind. Love sees. Yes, you just choose to be blind, but love sees. So you must be able to see what is going on. Then the other thing that contributes is that as in the social circles, the friends, the family members, the church, and everybody else, they mount so much pressure on these people who are about to get married. If it's a family that has already been indicated, they say, no, us, we've already organized. We've already invited people from the village. They're already here. And now you're saying you've seen these red flags are so vivid and I can't go. No, you embarrass us. There's so much pressure. So I think we need to get to a place where we embrace some of these things when they come and understand. We should not mount so much pressure on these young people when they discover there's something wrong. We need to be able to understand, to say, no, you can't proceed. If this is the case, you cannot proceed. Better break an engagement than get divorced. But but apparently it's like we would rather marry off our daughter to a savage. Marry off Azaka Chinja. They don't change. What you see multiplies when you get married.
That's one of my scary discovery that Dr. Stella said. Most of the time, unless otherwise, people don't change.
No, of course
they don't
change.
Now we are afraid, and I know the pain of sitting as a coach, seeing all the red flags on behalf of people and letting them go. Because practically, you are facilitating, you're giving the tools, but you're not making the decisions.
Exactly.
So you have to sit there and see red flags on their behalf. And just take them through the process and hoping they would see and make the decision, because it's very rare that people change at the core. They can pretend until they get the cake.
But afterwards,
and they ring on their finger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the struggle is real out there, and I feel like these conversations help for people to make the decision, because most people will pretend, and now people are desperate for marriage. They
the
will do
pastor
anything.
says,
That's the
no,
worst
I saw you in the spirit, you are meant for each other. Even if you see the red flags, can you walk away?
But that's a problem with papas as well, because they are the reason why there's a lot of crazy marriages out there, because they will use spiritual manipulation. She mentioned about it, because the church is also looking, especially when there's money involved.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
There's a seed involved.
There's a seed.
The man starts to prophesy.
The one sees visions. He used to prophesy. He sees dreams and visions. I feel that's where the problem, the church is also coming in. I'll give an example. You would attest, Mary, is I was one of those, and I'm glad when we started the show, we openly said, look, instead of killing someone, walk away. I was bashed for writing articles about if it's not working. You see the red flags in the marriage. I was personally bashed. You know, oh, why are you encouraging people to
And people
divorce?
still bash you.
And they still bash me today. You know, why are you encouraging people to walk away until someone? Now, the other day when those stories, I was looking, people are even saying, oh, if the marriage is failing, walk away. And I'm saying, wow, how did we get here? Now we're seeing this, but I was the evil one. You know, some people actually some pastors told their church members, don't go and talk to Coach Steady, he will encourage you to walk away. Now, they don't understand.
This is sad.
It's very sad. So the church is also the reason why. And I said, come on, guys, I got a job. I'm not looking for people. I work hard. I'm not looking for a seed. You know?
Exactly.
People will see all these things, and pastors will encourage them to stay there. And I said, look, for me, if some marriages were over even before they began. So it's not even about me. It's just that the marriages were gone. Before they said I do, it didn't do.
The things you're dealing with as a result of what you saw earlier.
Exactly. It's things that you saw.
There's no coach that will tell you to go your separate ways if you have no issue. For you to go there, it means there's an issue.
Go deeper.
Zoom in. So in the remaining few minutes that we have, I would like for you to give tips. Each one of you to give tips to somebody that is dealing with anger management, especially when it has to do with their spouse. I'll start with you, Love Doctor.
Oh, tips on anger management.
Yes, how to handle hard situations, not to kill each other.
Yeah, I think, I always feel, you know, to deal with anger, you just need God. You need God.
Even you can't handle your own.
No, because I've got God.
Yourself.
Yeah, I've got God in
You
me.
can
So
handle yourself.
yeah, so I'll just go pray about it. You know, yes. So that prayer helps.
No,
yes.
it does.
And then those that don't pray, of course, like we said here, if you had a discussion to say, if I tell you to say, let's stop talking now, let's stop talking. Because there are people, okay, let's talk to sinizaleka lelo mpaka lelo. You know, you leave, you go, kwamene uyendelele kwamene ukosa kabwereko nizoenda kuli mwamuna wako kuli mkazi wako.
Okay,
you know?
Auntie Judy.
I think that we need conversations.
Okay.
People need to start conversations when they feel that they are not able to control themselves and this person is infuriating them beyond control. They need conversations to talk to someone. Like, this is honestly how I feel.
Okay, Dr. Stella.
Handling anger, there are certain triggers, but before you even talk about handling anger, I think you must learn to love yourself more.
Okay.
Learn to love yourself more, learn to value yourself, and learn to add value to yourself.
Okay.
Then you'll be in a position to handle some of these triggers of anger. You ask yourself, is it worth me killing this person over what? And should I stay just because? If you've added value to yourself, if you've added value to yourself, you will have no reason to be alone. After all, you will know that there are other people there who love you.
Coach Steady. Let me hear from you very briefly. Yeah.
I think for me, it's really working on yourself, doing the work, the personal development, the personal growth, becoming an excellent version of yourself so that you can give the best to your partner and whoever you decide to build a relationship with. Yeah. Thank
you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being on the show and for sharing with us some great nuggets on how to deal with anger and avoid crimes of passion. And I hope you people at home have picked 1 or 2 points. We know that they say marriage is not a bed of roses, but there's always a way in which you can handle your anger. I'm sure you've picked some points here. When you have not quarreled, when you're not fighting, sit and talk about how you should handle the next argument, how you should address it, and stick to the rules.
Yes.
Thank you for watching Real Love. Good night.
Good night.